Live from your local news source, this is ABC 27 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Alicia Richards.
I'm Dennis Owens. Happy Election Day. I've only been waiting for this for about 18 months. Here we are. Just under 2 million Pennsylvania voters cast their ballots by mail.
Everyone will just be happy when the ads end.
Well, that's right.
Millions more voted today. The polls are open for 2 more hours. As long as you are in line by 8, you will be able to vote. When the polls opened at 7 this morning, we found long lines at a lot of locations, including here in Susquehanna Township, Dauphin County. Voters we spoke with shared a common theme of our right and duty to vote.
I think that both sides are totally different and they represent 2 totally different things. And I'm here to hopefully make a change, make it better for my daughter.
First of all, it's our civil right to do so. Voting is an important right that we should demonstrate as Americans.
It's every generation's duty to express yourself in the political ways by voting and learning who you're voting for. The most important thing to do is do your research.
So we're here with my grandkids. To see me be part of the process is really good for them, I think, and good for them as little Americans, and hopefully for the future so that they will vote.
Little Americans.
Little America, I like that.
I love that. Pennsylvania has 9 million registered voters. 70% of them are expected to cast their ballots.
Well, Election Day isn't the only day you can vote, but it is the final day. More Pennsylvanians will vote today than in all the days of mail-in voting combined. Seth Kaplan is live from a polling location in York County. Seth.
Dennis, more than 61,000 people, for example, in York County have already voted by mail-in voting as of earlier today. But that leaves about 150,000 or more who are still going to vote today if you kind of look at what happened last election. We are in Springettsbury Township, just east of the city of York. And you might think, hey, less than 2 hours left to go. Everybody's made up their mind. Almost everybody who's going to vote has already voted. Would you believe we found people still knocking on doors? This was less than a half hour ago. In this case, volunteers with the Kamala Harris campaign handing out literature. These are people who have come from all over the country. That fellow you see there is from Washington, D.C. They have descended on Pennsylvania and the other 6 swing states, trying to convince folks. And back live now, you might think, well, York County, a red county, went about 2-1 for Donald Trump. Why would the Harris campaign bother doing that here? Well, the reality is that, you'll read these stories about how, Erie County is going to decide the election, these sort of 50-50 places. Pennsylvania will help decide the election, no question, along with those other big swing states. But within Pennsylvania, the reality is that one mind changed in the reddest place, the bluest place, or a purple place is worth just as much as any other vote. One mind changed, in favor of Donald Trump in a deep blue place like Philadelphia or Pittsburgh State College. One mind changed for Kamala Harris in a place like Fulton County in our viewing area, which went 85% for Trump last time. And that is why folks from both campaigns are knocking on every door, trying to talk to every voter, take advantage of these last 2 hours to vote. Live in York County, Seth Kaplan, ABC 27 News. Back to you.
Seth, I love your enthusiasm, and I share it on Election Day. Well, in Cumberland County, the pre-canvassing of mail ballots began when the polls opened at 7 this morning. Pre-canvassing is when county workers take ballots out of the envelopes, check them for errors, and scan them. It is labor-intensive and time-consuming. These ballots are not counted until the polls close. Cumberland County has 322 overseas absentee ballots and 3 mail-in ballots that were challenged and will not be included in tonight's ballot count. The Board of Elections will then decide on how to handle those ballots. More than 85% of mail-ins across the state have been returned. But if you still have yours, you must drop it off in person before the polls close tonight at 8 p.m. We have information on where to drop those ballots on our website, abc27.com.
Now, several polling locations across Pennsylvania experienced problems that kept voters waiting. Video from Cambria County shows election officials discussing why that county's electronic voting system failed to scan ballots this morning. They had to pivot, and voters then used paper ballots. Anecdotal polling problems were also reported in Blair, Luzerne, Bedford, and Huntington counties. They were all processing problems that have been solved, and sometimes voting hours were extended. Well, of all the places vice presidential candidate Tim Walz could be on Election Day, he was in the mid-state, and our Mackenzie Gerald was right there with him. Mackenzie.
Yes, Alicia. Governor Walz made a stop at the Capitol Diner right outside of Harrisburg this afternoon. He was accompanied by his wife Gwen and kids Hope and Gus. Harris Walz supporters filled a back room closed off from the rest of the diner. This is where the Walzes took time to mingle with supporters, sharing their appreciation during this campaign season and reminding Pennsylvanians to get out and vote. Some diners we spoke with after his visit were on their way to the polls.
I'm taking my family in 10 minutes. We all are going together to make a change in this world. I'm very excited.
It's going to come down to the wire, make the difference. So it's really, really important that everybody gets out to vote and not take anything for granted. So every vote counts.
And now a reminder, as everyone has been mentioning, the polls do close at 8 p.m. tonight. In Harrisburg, Mackenzie Jarrell, ABC 27 News.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Still have 2 hours to get out there and vote. Democrats hoping to take control of the state Senate for the first time in 31 years. And a Dauphin County seat is fueling those hopes. Republican Nick DeFrancesco taking on Democrat Patty Kim. DeFrancesco, former county commissioner, was at Rutherford Elementary School today in Harrisburg, talking to voters at that polling location on the last day of his campaign. Patty Kim, of course, the sitting state representative, hit multiple locations. We caught up with her on one of those stops. Kim currently represents parts of Cumberland and Dauphin counties. That Senate seat is open because Republican John DeSanto is not seeking re-election. And sometimes it's just not about who wins the election, it's also about the party that takes control. Sarah Wilson, live in Lancaster County with more on this story. Sarah.
Very, very true. There are major implications tonight on the local level. House Democrats right now control that chamber. Republicans control the state Senate one. So in that chamber, 25 seats are up for grabs, 8 of them uncontested. 4 are Democratic seats, and those other 4 are Republican. When it comes to both the House and the Senate, this is a closely divided General Assembly, and because of that, many GOP proposals like voter ID, which we have seen in the past, have not gone anywhere. And that is why Scott Martin, one of the most powerful Senate members in Pennsylvania who is running for re-election, says he is desperate to change that.
The things that we needed to focus on to grow this state, we haven't been able to accomplish. We have been able to get some things accomplished to stabilize the Commonwealth and try to make us more competitive. But in order to keep us moving in that same direction, it would be nice to have the House as our partner and locked arm in arm as we negotiate with the governor. I'll even be as bold as this. I think it'll be better for the governor.
And again, Republicans currently control the state Senate. Democrats would need 3 seats to flip it. That would bring the control to 25 Republicans, 25 Democrats. So deadlock there. The Lieutenant Governor, Austin Davis, would then be the tiebreaker for any votes that come through and ultimately go to the governor's desk. We're going to have much more on this, of course, coming up tonight, especially at 11. But for now, guys, we're live in Lancaster. Sarah Wilson, ABC 27 News.
Thanks, Sarah. A lot of eyes on those results. Turning now to a race we've been watching closely. You've been watching closely. It's the one for the U.S. Senate seat. Incumbent Bob Casey voted this morning at Scranton High School. He's seeking his 4th 6-year term. Republican challenger Dave McCormick dropped off his ballot last week. It is a tight race, according to the most recent Emerson College poll, with Casey at 47.1%, McCormick at 46.9%. That's 0.2%.
Well, the mid-state almost always sends Republicans to the U.S. House. It is possible that will change. Let's turn to one of our most contested races. Mallory Metzner joins us with that. Mallory.
Alicia, tonight, Democratic candidate Janelle Stelson is hoping to unseat Republican incumbent Scott Perry. We're at the Camp Hill Borough office where supporters for both Perry and Stelson still have signs and tables set up. Perry is a 7-term congressman. Stelson, a former TV news anchor. She won the primary out of a crowded field of Democrats. Both candidates agree on securing the border and deporting those who came here illegally. Perry is known for being a hardline Republican. Stelson is running on making the 10th congressional district more moderate because she is pro-choice. The district includes Dauphin, Cumberland, and York counties. Stelson does not currently live in the district. She lives in Lancaster. She pledged if she won the primary, she would move to the 10th district. Now she's been saying if she wins the race, move. Stelson actually stopped by the Camp Hill Borough office a little over 2 hours ago, shaking hands with supporters of both parties. We interviewed voters at the polls in this district this afternoon about what voting in today's election means to them.
I was glad to be able to bring these guys with me to show them that it is important to vote. I know that they've been taught that at school. Joey got to vote for which was his favorite cookie today, also very important, and he voted for the winning cookie. So he feels good about that, and I feel good about being able to come out and having the right to be able to come vote.
The polls are open until 8 tonight, and like you said, Alicia, this is one of our most contested races. We'll be set up at Stelson's watch party, and Ali Berube will be at Perry's. For now, reporting live in Camp Hill, Mallory Metzner, ABC 27 News.
Mallory, thanks a million. And Mallory's right. Polls close at 8. And look, as long as you're in line by 8 o'clock, now, the only time people have to show ID are first-time voters.
A little boy voted for the winning cookie. No question, it's chocolate chip all the time.